How's it going, guys? Nintendo Enthusiast here. So we recently got some new information on Resident Evil Revelations 3. Another Resident Evil game on the way. But here's the surprising part. Its primary focus is apparently the Nintendo Switch version, even though it will come to other platforms. Which is strange, and we will get into that. But first, let's jump on into the news over on the Nintendo Enthusiast website, where we recently covered this leak. My coworker John writes, as we recently reported, Capcom fell victim to a massive hack this month, and potentially years worth of its future video game plans were subsequently leaked online, including a potential localization of the Great Ace Attorney for the West. While we did initially report the Great Ace Attorney, we refrained from covering any further information from the Capcom leaks since, at the end of the day, it's all maliciously stolen information. However, today we have a new rumor that comes not directly from the hack, but rather a regular, non-law-breaking leaker of Capcom news. The leaker claims that a project is essentially being treated as Resident Evil Revelations 3 in development for Nintendo Switch as its primary platform, and it will come to other platforms as well. Resident Evil Revelations 3, or whatever the final name proves to be, will allegedly lean harder into survival horror than action horror. The leaker decided to come forward with this information in order to squash separate, allegedly false rumors that a Resident Evil Outbreak 3 was in development. Of course, these are all unverified claims, and you should treat them as such. However, Dusk Golem has a relatively solid track record when it comes to leaking Resident Evil news. If you've been hoping to see Capcom deliver Resident Evil Revelations 3 on Nintendo Switch or any other platform, this might be cause for cautious optimism. So there it is, guys. There's all the information laid out. Now let's go through this one by one and pick everything apart, and let's talk about it. So first off, this does not come from the recently stolen Capcom information. This comes from Dusk Golem. But the one thing that is odd to me is why wasn't this game a part of those Capcom leaked documents? My only guess is that it's a lot further out than those games, which is unfortunate if you're a Resident Evil Revelations fan, but it seemed like most major Capcom games were a part of those stolen documents. So maybe this is a 2023 game or 2024 game, but either way, it seems like this is actually real. This source, Dusk Golem, actually leaked Monster Hunter Rise well before it was announced for Nintendo Switch. And he or she, I'm not sure, also claimed that Resident Evil 4 was getting a remake way before all of the other YouTube channels and websites were reporting on it. So honestly, I fully believe this person. But now let's get into the details. It's being primarily focused on Nintendo Switch. What does that mean exactly? So here's my guess. I think this game's going to look very graphically different than a lot of the recent Resident Evil games that we've gotten. In terms of the smaller budget Revelations games and the AAA mainline series we've been getting, I think for the first time we might actually see Resident Evil do something different with its art style, not aim for realism, but maybe something a little more artistic. Honestly, I would love to see a darker, scarier version of something like Astral Chain. I think the art style in Astral Chain is so underrated, and I would love to see more games looking like that. Especially a Resident Evil game with that art style, I would absolutely love it. But yeah, it's being primarily focused on Nintendo Switch, so I don't expect this to be an extremely graphically demanding Resident Evil game. The history of this spin-off series has shown us that these just don't get the major budget that the main franchise gets. But honestly, this is just me predicting everything. Maybe it just looks more like Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. If it's primarily focused on Switch, it's kinda weird that it's not an exclusive. I think this would be an amazing exclusive for Nintendo Switch, so Nintendo can diversify its catalog of games. Having a big exclusive horror game like this would be great for Nintendo Switch, but apparently it's coming to everything. I actually made a video on this a little over a year ago talking about how I think Nintendo should nab Resident Evil Revelations 3 as a Switch exclusive, and now it seems like it's kind of coming true. It's obviously coming to other platforms, but the fact that it says it's primarily focused on the Switch version is really strange. Not 100% sure what it means, but I guess we will find out sometime in the future. Now let's dig into this other news. Apparently, Dusk Golem believes that Rebecca Chambers is planned to be a part of it. I think it would be really cool to bring back Rebecca Chambers. If you don't know her, she's from the original Resident Evil, as well as Resident Evil 0, and I believe her most recent appearance was in the most recent CG Resident Evil movie, and I completely forgot the name of it, but she's in there for a little bit, and I think it was really cool seeing her again. I really hope Capcom sticks with her same character model. As I'm sure you know, Capcom loves changing the way their characters look, usually for no reason at all, and it personally bothers me. I don't know why they felt the need to make Chris look like a totally different person in Resident Evil 7, and obviously they had backlash for it because they actually brought back the old model of Chris in Resident Evil 8, which I think is just kind of strange all around that they didn't stick with their guns on that one. But either way, I'm happy to see Boulder punching Chris back in Resident Evil 8, and I really hope to see Rebecca Chambers with her usual character model in Resident Evil Revelations 3. Now, she was pretty much a rookie back during Resident Evil 1 and 0, but it has been a long time since then in Resident Evil continuity, which is extremely messy anyway. But yeah, years have passed, she's probably way more experienced, and I would love to play as her in Revelations 3. I really like that Capcom centers its Resident Evil games generally around the same group of people, and after all these years, I've actually grown attached to a lot of them, and Rebecca is one I would definitely love to see again, so I really hope that's true. And if she's not the main character, I at least hope she's a very important side character in the game. And the final news to dig into with this recent leak is the fact that Resident Evil Outbreak 3 is not real. I trust Dusk Golem, and he says that it's not a thing, it's not in development, which will probably make a lot of people sad. Now, me personally, to be completely honest, I've never fully delved into Resident Evil Outbreak 1 or 2. I did watch my friend play it back in the day, but I didn't have a PlayStation 2 around the time it released, and when I had one later, I never went back and played it. And nowadays, there's just way too many games, so I doubt I'm ever going to get back and play these games. Maybe one day, I don't know, maybe one day. But yeah, I don't have a long history with the Outbreak series. I did play a little bit of the first one with my friend, but I never beat it or anything. So I'm sorry for people who are a big fan of that series. I know you're probably sad that Outbreak 3 is not in development, but maybe it'll return one day down the line. Honestly, I wasn't fully sure we were ever going to get a Revelations 3, so the fact that we're getting it, maybe that means we could get an Outbreak 3 one day as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Apparently, Revelations 3 is coming. I don't know when. If I had to guess, it's pretty dang far out because it wasn't a part of those Capcom documents. I would guess 2023. It's probably still in early development. But who knows, maybe it just wasn't in the leaked documents. Maybe it's coming out next year. That would be amazing. The fact that Resident Evil 8 is set to come out next year, I highly doubt we see Resident Evil Revelations 3 in the same calendar year. But you never know, Capcom tends to launch its spin-off games closer to its mainline Resident Evil games. I mean, the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake were only like a year apart, so maybe we'll get Revelations 3 in early 2022. I think that'd be a great spot for it. And honestly, I wish it was a Switch exclusive, not because I'm like this hardcore Nintendo fanboy or anything. I probably play just as much PlayStation and Xbox as I do Switch, but I think for Nintendo, it would be a really big deal to get a Resident Evil game as an exclusive. They did it originally with Resident Evil Revelations on 3DS, but as you know, that game ended up coming to like every single platform. Either way, I'm really excited for this. I hope they give us a really unique art style for the Resident Evil series. I would like a multitude of things, but I think I would love if it looked similar to Astral Chain. A horror game that looked like that would be fantastic in my opinion. But let me know what you think about everything down in the comments section below. Do you think this recent Dusk Golem leak is legit? I do. I have no reason not to believe this person anymore. They've proven themselves. And you know, maybe I'm just a little obsessed with Resident Evil, so I just want it to be real, even if it isn't. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya.